And we are live. Good morning, good morning, good morning, David. Welcome, and thank you. Thank you so much for doing this interview. I've been really excited. Uh, I've foreseen this years ago, and I'm so grateful that it's happening. I'm so excited for people to meet David Collins as a human being, as a man. I've known you for going on 15 years. You're somebody that I really respect in terms of what you do and how you've helped people and how you are helping people right now. How what you've done with You Act. I'm really excited to tell people about that. But before we get there, uh, who is
Good
David
morning.
Collins? Good morning.
Good
Yeah,
morning.
I said good morning to you, didn't
Yeah. I didn't
I?
respond.
You didn't respond.
I'm trying to get the online etiquette right in this
Oh
new world
yeah,
we live in.
yeah. I gave you a gap, but you didn't do it, so I had to keep on going. That's what we're supposed to do in radio. Okay. So how are you? How are you doing?
I'm
How's life
good.
treating you?
I'm good. How's life treating me? I think life's treating me like it's treating everyone else. It's very unpredictable. It's changing all
Yeah,
the time. It's trying to live a normal life in this new world is quite difficult.
yeah.
My son's getting married next month. My other son got engaged, and my
Yes, I
nephew,
saw that. Congratulations, Mazel
yeah,
Tov.
and my nephew committed suicide at the end of August. So
I heard
it's like
about that.
it's yes. On the one hand, we've got lots of celebration, and on the other hand, we've got emotional family tragedy through mental health. So
Yeah,
I'm really pleased to be here today to try and just talk about things that are really difficult to talk about, I guess.
yeah, yeah. Well, I suppose what you do and what you've been doing for the last few years really helps, but nothing can prepare you for what you're going through right now.
Mm.
You know, it's a terrible thing losing someone in the first place, and then losing them to suicide is I just can't imagine what that must be like. It's just never happened to me. So my sincere condolences. I've seen how you've been struggling with it and being honest about it. So thank you
Well,
for your
I think
authenticity.
I, I think the struggle is really with my sister and her husband because it
Mm,
was their son. I was the uncle,
mm,
um, and yeah, what I did notice is how it's impacted everyone. So when someone shares their story, listen, I've lost my child, how it impacts the other parents when they hear it. They think, oh my
yeah,
God, that must be terrible. They hear
mm,
the tragedy and then all their emotions come up. And then when their
yeah,
emotions come up, it then impacts the environment for my sister and her husband.
yeah,
So and it's the same when you share a celebration. Oh, my son's
yeah,
getting married. Oh, good. Oh, my yeah. But
yeah,
but but what I'm trying to do with the coaching stuff is to equip the listener to be able to hear the story. So
yeah,
the problem in the world is not with the person that's telling the story. The challenge is the world with the person that's listening to the story.
yeah,
Because when someone's story gets heard,
yeah.
there's a psychological change with that happens. Oh, I've
Yes.
been heard, I've been
Mm,
seen, I've been acknowledged, and
yeah,
then that person can start the healing process. And I
yeah,
think with addiction, mental health, um, with stigmatized illnesses, everyone has an opinion. Yeah. So this is
yeah,
what's going on for me. Everyone has an opinion of what you need to do. And what we're
yeah,
trying to do with the coaching engagement is to get the person to take responsibility for themselves. So what's your
mm,
opinion of yourself and your mental illness.
Mm. Yeah. But just before we get into that, David, just let's just for everybody that's watching this, let's who is David Collins? Where did you fall out of? How did tell us about Sharp and the foundation, and then the evolution into UACT, which is what I really want people to know about today.
Okay. So I fell out of my mother, I guess, in 1966.
That must have been a surprise.
Well, my mum was 18 years old, and
Oh.
yeah, she went into labor before we got home. Yeah, and she was in traffic in the snow in the UK.
Oh, wow.
And the reason I say this is being born was very different then as it is nowadays. The world has changed a lot.
Yeah.
So, for example, with technology that we have nowadays and all that,
Yeah.
The world is much more accessible.
It's much safer to be born. Yeah. Medical technology.
Yeah, maybe. But that's a whole other different debate. So just to put some context around my own personal story, born into an alcoholic home. Yeah. So growing up in that environment, I went down the path of addiction, and my own personal recovery started kind of officially, for want of a better word, in 13th of November, 96. Yeah.
Okay.
And I got very involved in the 12-step type approach of treatment or of recovery, and that was going out and helping others. And I came to Johannesburg, and with some other people started a secondary care facility, which was called Sharp, self-help addiction recovery program. And I took the name from a place that, or we took the name from a place that I went to in London as an outpatient program when I got kicked out of a rehab in '93. Okay,
Yeah.
so, and the reason I say that is we didn't know what to do, so we kind of took what was there. This is what's available. This works. Let's take it.
Yeah.
So started Sharp, and then it took 7 years to get registered and to become a registered treatment facility that could provide treatment for substance use disorder, which is now the medical term for addiction. Yeah.
Okay.
So that took 7 years. So we opened in 2001, and the UACT Trust was officially launched by Fluke on the 13th of November 2008. And how that started is I was working at JP Morgan at the time doing IT, and as part of their CSI initiative, they needed to be seen as providing CSI investment, corporate social investing.
Yeah.
And they heard of what I did, and they said, David, listen, we're not sure what you do, but we want to give you 100,000 Rand. We need to do it for our CSI stuff. Yep. How are you going to spend it? And these are the hoops you need to jump through. So Vessel Shemaine, who's the head of compliance and governance there at the time, he became the main trustee, and we jumped through all the hoops to set up a Section 18A trust, which is a public benefit organization.
Okay.
And which basically means that corporate South Africa can make tax-deductible donations because you are there to serve the public. Okay. The downside of it was that it cost 70,000 Rand of the 100,000 to set up all the paperwork, which went to KPMG. So with my naivety of things, I go into things naively, and then afterwards you only find out, oh shit, well, that was a bad idea. I didn't know about this and I didn't know about that. Yeah. So since 2008, we're now where we now, 2021. we've been putting together this trust that has has three objectives: to train people in recovery coaching, to empower them so they can make a difference, and provide treatment
Mm.
in their areas. So instead of taking money and trying to get people to get into recovery and
Yeah.
pay for treatment for them, rather spend the money on training people that show an interest in
Brilliant.
recovery and train them how they can turn their lived experience into an asset that can go and help in their community. Because recovery, the recovery coaching relationship is the most important thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
So in South Africa, we're a diverse country. We've got 11
Mm.
official languages and 12 if you want to include sign
It's
language.
challenging. Challenging. Yeah.
Yeah. So the challenge is, how do we train people from diverse backgrounds, yep,
Mm.
and get their lived experience and turn that into an asset.
Yeah.
And um, in 2016 or 2014, I had the idea of cell phone rehab. Yeah. And then in
Yes.
2016, we got workplace donated to us because we're a non-profit. And from that,
Okay.
we've been able to build an online school and community that has
Hmm.
now expanded into New Zealand, Australia, um, the Netherlands, the UK, and the US. And
Yeah.
now we've got something called Pocket Rehab. Yeah.
Yes. Yes. I've seen it.
And that's where we are today. Then COVID came along, and everyone went online. And now we find
Yes.
ourselves here, where how can we bring a culture of recovery to a world that has changed, that is in crisis, chaos, and conflict because of the pandemic? And how
Yeah.
do we, the corporate has come together with the kitchen. So you no longer kind of go to work and come home. It's like you've been there in the kitchen. And for some people, they love it, and some people, they hate it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, whatever recovery is for the world, now it's going to be very interesting.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm very curious about, because recovery coaching isn't just for somebody with substance use disorder. It's for
Exactly.
anyone that wants to recover something that they've lost. Yeah.
Makes sense. Makes sense. Well, that cancels my next question. Why recovery coaching? Why is it not addiction counseling? So it's to recover something you've lost.
Yeah.
But
So
could recovery coaching also be used for overcoming a challenge that's come your way?
sure,
Or,
sure.
sort of
I
like
mean,
life coaching or business coaching?
so the difference with life coaching, yeah, life
Hmm.
coaching kind of looks at you as an individual and how you are showing up in your life. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Business coaching is about how you're showing up in your role within the business, and is it adding value to yourself and the business? And can you align your own personal meaning and purpose with the
Yeah.
business's meaning and purpose? Yeah.
Okay.
And recovery coaching is the coaching conversation, which is around having a recovery coaching conversation around what is it that you're going to recover now. So you've been through a divorce. Yep.
Mm.
Should I
Yeah.
need to recover myself from that? Yep.
Yeah.
I've been diagnosed with diabetes. I need to get recovery from that. Yeah. I
Yeah.
need to get to have a conversation with someone which isn't therapeutic, that
Mm.
that sits in the wellness continuum, in the space of wellness.
Yeah.
So you'd have a conversation with me where I would listen to you, where you're the expert of what recovery looks like for you.
Mm.
Yeah. So the lens that we look at the client in is they're
Mm.
in a space of wellness. Yeah. They're not in a
Okay.
space of pathology. Yeah. of illness. They're
I
not in a
like that.
place of where they need a clinical therapeutic intervention.
Yeah.
It's like, let's have a conversation. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. What do you want to talk about? How do you think you're going to address that?
Hmm.
Yep. Is there a psychologist in your network that you feel comfortable with if you were
Yeah.
to go and do that? Yes, I think I need to see a psychologist to go and work on my childhood trauma. Okay, good luck. Let me know how it goes. Yeah.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
so, so the client would then come back, for example, and said, "How did it go?" Yes, well, I went there and I felt too ashamed to talk about my trauma. Oh,
Okay.
okay. So what do you think you need to do now? Well, I feel ashamed about that I'm going to be judged. Oh, okay. Well, what might be judged? Have you explored this with your therapist? Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you start to think of the relationship the client is having with their therapist and try and get the client to take responsibility for their side of it. Does that make
Yeah.
sense? Yeah.
Yeah. Most definitely.
So if I was to tie that into AccuDetox, yeah,
Yeah.
and
Okay.
and the person goes and they get their physical AccuDetox, and when that's
Hmm.
happening, there's going to be a whole lot of emotional stuff that comes up with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, just to be able to sit and have a conversation with someone. Oh, okay. So how might you address this? What resources are available to you?
Yeah.
It's really about helping someone get clarity of their thinking around what their recovery looks like for them.
Yeah. I
You see, once
suppose.
I once I start, Warren, I don't shut up. So
Okay. So I suppose it's really being a good listener and
hmm,
and and empathizing with the person and connecting with them and
yes, but but
and
but
making them feel heard. Uh,
but when you listen to them, it's in the context of coaching.
mhm.
It's not in the context of I've got a good doctor that's listening to me, or I've got a good
Yeah.
therapist that's listening, or I've got a good pastor that's listening to me.
Yeah.
It's I've got a coach that's listening to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you listen with coaching ears, and
Hmm.
the coaching ears wants the client to always forward the action and deepen the learning. So the coaching conversation is about getting someone to perform at their peak. A football coach coaches the football player to play football at the professional level. Does that
Hmm.
make sense? Yeah.
So it's very goal orientated.
Goal orientated. And I want to come in there with a caveat, because it might be goal orientated and I might be heading along to a goal, but along that journey I learn something about me that makes me then change and consider, shit, that's not exactly the goal that I want. Let me adjust myself to the new goal that I want. So
Uh-huh.
yeah, so it's very agile as well, where the client can kind of change what the goal is. So so
Exactly.
to put
I
it in it
suppose.
to put it in an addiction context, yeah,
Okay.
I'll have a gambler that wants to come and see me, and their goal is
Yeah.
controlled gambling. Yeah, they want to do
Okay.
controlled gambling, and my job there is
Okay.
to say, oh, okay, let's see how that goes. Yeah, in the
Okay.
back of my head thinking, oh shit, this is going to end up.
Exactly.
But I keep that
Yeah.
quiet. And I
Yeah.
trust that the client is going to go and try some controlled gambling. Halfway
Mhm.
through the contracted sessions, yeah, or halfway through the intervention, the client might
Yeah.
say, you know what, I need to do complete abstinence. I need to stop gambling altogether. What I've realized is I gamble because I've got relationship problems and I'm avoiding going home at night. Yeah. And
Mm.
I actually just like going to the casino because I can check out of the world and not face my problems. So it's not
Yeah.
about winning or losing. It's about, oh, okay, what might you want to do then? Well, I'm going to stop going to the casinos. I'm going to attend those 12-step meetings and I'm going to work on my relationship. Yeah. Great. Well done. See you later. So that's a true story. That's a case study that I did in 2011.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, David, for people who might be interested in doing recovery coaching, becoming a recovery coach, what would it entail? What's involved?
So there are various levels, yeah, and
Hmm.
various types. So the entry level is a peer recovery specialist, yeah. So that's
Okay.
somebody that's got some lived experience, yeah,
Hmm.
and they engage with someone in a way that kind of signposts them to a solution, yeah. So you want to stop, what you want to stop heroin, for example. Yeah, I know
Yeah.
there's a doctor down the road that can prescribe uh, methadone or Suboxone or something. Yep, go and see him. And I've been going to these meetings. Would you like to come to a meeting with me? It's very much like this is what I did. Would you like to do it? Yeah, where you share your
Okay.
story. Yeah.
Okay.
Um, the next level is a certified professional recovery coach, where you engage in a more professional way uh, that's holistic in its approach, where it's not just you got this problem, we're signposting you through this solution. It's like uh, the coach chi has more agency. Yeah,
Okay.
more agency is means they want to go
David.
for a second.
Yeah, we're having sound issues. Yeah, you.
Okay,
Okay,
I'm
keep
sorry.
going. Keep going. No problem.
All
Um,
right, and then after the certified professional recovery coach, you get the facilitators training, and then you get business coaching training, and
okay.
and and the training path. Um, Lots of people want to go into coaching, yeah,
Yeah.
but not everyone can be a coach. So
Yeah.
so so I would, if anyone's interested, I would start at the kind of the entry level,
Mm,
yeah, um, to become a peer recovery specialist. So my sister, for example, can use peer recovery specialist recovery coaching as a skill set for other mothers that have lost a son to suicide. Yeah.
yeah.
Does that
Got
make
you.
sense? So
Makes
she
sense.
could,
Makes sense to
she
me.
yeah, cool. So she can sit down in that role and listen in a way that she can share parts of her story, which will be
Mm,
beneficial in the coachee, the person that's vulnerable and grieving, into getting to a place of wellness if you ever get well again after such a tragedy. Because I think
yeah.
what you need to do is be able to integrate it and learn how to live with a trauma that's going to be with you forever, but it's
Yeah.
not going to consume you.
Yeah.
You're not going to survive it. You're going to thrive in spite of it.
Got you. Got you. So this UACT is a foundation. So it's a non-profit organization. It's a public
No,
benefit
it's a public
organization.
benefit organization.
My apologies. My apologies.
No, well,
So
well, the difference is it's meant for everyone. All yeah, it's meant for the public, and
yeah.
discrimination and mental health impacts everyone. So
Yeah.
it's not like we're an NGO where we're here to assist the poor. Yeah,
Yeah.
we're here to assist the public, the citizens of South Africa. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Regardless of who
like
you are.
everyone deserves recovery. Yeah,
Sorry, I just got a in my leg. Carry on, I'm listening.
yeah,
How random.
and yeah, and and I think one of the challenges is the stigma of the mental health kind of thinks that, like, rich people don't have tragedy. Yep. And poor
Yeah.
people are unhappy, when actually I find a lot of rich people are very unhappy. There are a lot of poor people that are very happy. Yeah.
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
the struggles of addiction are the same in those families, regardless of whether they're wealthy or poor. Yeah.
Yeah.
So a mother's worry about her son is the same,
Mm.
regardless of whether your son went to private school or government school.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Regardless of the race of your child.
All right.
Yeah. Regardless of
So,
the language.
so now let's talk about you have tiered pricing. So you help people in terms of access to the course.
Mm.
Am I right?
Very much so. So it's $250 to get in. Yeah.
Okay.
And then 250 for another 250 for the next module, and then the next module and the next module. So it goes up to $1,000. Yeah.
Okay.
And that would be from a peer recovery specialist to a certified professional recovery coach to a systemic wellness practitioner to a certified business coach. And
Okay.
and because we're in South Africa, and
Mm.
because of the exchange rate, we can offer a global best practice program at the fraction of the cost. Yeah.
Mm.
So if we compare our training to the first world countries, we give a hell of a lot of value. We give the
Yeah.
theory and we give the practical experience. So
Mm.
so yeah, but if we compare ourselves on global pricing, yeah,
Mm.
we are way more affordable. And because we're
Yes.
more affordable, people then just kind of assume, oh well, that training must be crap.
Yeah.
There's a bias around, like, um, anything that comes from Africa, if I'm honest.
Yeah, but it's not. It's actually CETA accredited. Am I right?
Well, it's CETA accredited. No, SAQA.
SACWA. Okay.
But we're also internationally accredited, ISO 17024 compliant, which
Wow.
basically means International Standard of Operations compliant, out of Sweden. Yeah? and
Okay.
and our training's been audited and registered by a Dutch crowd called the International Coaching Register, and they came out and audited us and how we onboard students, how we test students, what the certification path is, what the actual qualification means, how do we monitor the hours, how do we assess people, how do we issue certificates, and the controls and policies and procedures in place, which is a pain in the ass to put together,
Yeah.
but it brings credibility to
Yeah.
the training at the end of it. But it doesn't actually help
Yeah.
the student, but it does
Yeah.
help the profession, and it helps
Yeah.
the clients that our coaches interact with.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of unconscious incompetence out there. There's a lot of people
Yeah.
that think they're doing well, but don't
Mm.
realize that they're doing harm.
Yeah. Yeah.
And fuck, I've made some serious boo-boos. It's like I look back and I think, oh my God, I was so uninformed.
Yeah. 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 It's a process. Learning is a process. We have to make mistakes along the way in order to learn what not to do and to deliver value and to be responsible at the end of the day.
And the
part of
other
the
way
process.
around of it, the other way around is what's worked in the past might not necessarily be working now. So
Especially now.
we really had to look at our program, yeah, at the clinic, yeah, and look at our
Yeah,
policies
yeah,
around, particularly around telephone use during the
yeah,
pandemic,
yeah,
because historically, you kind of people come in no contact with your family for the first couple of weeks and blah blah blah.
yeah.
But nowadays, like, I mean, if we think about it, the average person that comes into rehab has never been without a cell phone.
Yeah.
Yeah, like people communicate this way. People are so
Yeah.
addicted to their cell phones.
Jeez, tell me about it. Have you got a rehab program just for phones?
Well, funny you should say that, but
Yeah,
we do have our Daniel Napier in New Zealand. He's got a program for men that just
yeah,
kind of want to kind of unplug and kind of really look at the way that cell phone addiction, porn addiction, workaholism is impacting. Yeah, is impacting men and families in general, and the suicide rates in New Zealand. So he's put a program together which we run on our platform
yeah,
specifically for men that are struggling with
yeah.
this. And then there's a sister program called the Wisdom of Women, which is for women that want to come together and uh,
Mm. Well, it's dopamine at the end of the day. It's,
exactly,
it's,
exactly.
People are getting their dopamine from phones. It's no difference. It's whether it's cocaine or sex or porn or gambling or cell phones. It's or the internet. It's dopamine that we're getting from these things, isn't that right?
So what about when a mother is addicted to her child?
Yeah, I've just been watching the story of Maradona and the
Oh,
relationship between him and his mother on Netflix. Oh man, it's
tell me
very
about it.
sad. Very sad. No, no, go watch it on Amazon Prime. I've just watched the first few episodes, but the relationship between him and his mom was very unhealthy. And the relationship, the codependency between him and his family and his father and his wife, uh, and how it ended, how he died in the end was just purely because of the codependency and the enabling that was happening with everybody around him that were feeding off of his talent and his personality and the money that he was bringing in as a professional. It's so sad how he died in the end. His life could have been saved if it had not been for the enablers around him who were trying to protect his image, this false reality of what everybody was feeding off of. It was such a sad story. Such a talented man, and he suffered needlessly for so long because of people's addiction to this fake reality that they were trying to uphold, and he was trying to uphold. You know, it's a very sad story, and it could have been prevented if he had the right environment. And I think people trying to come out of addiction, the hardest part is the environment that they go back to.
So what you
Is
need
it
to
safe?
understand with addiction recovery is
Hmm.
it's not the person that's got the problem that's the problem.
Yeah,
The whole system is addicted. The whole
yeah,
system is living in a culture of addiction. The
yeah,
whole system has adjusted itself running
correct.
around the person with the problem. So
Yeah,
when that person starts to live in the solution, the
yeah,
system freaks out, And the whole system needs to start to move towards a culture of recovery. And that's where
Yeah.
systemic practitioners come in, because you can identify the various roles within the system and
Yeah.
work with that role to move that individual role to a culture of recovery. So in that system, there would be the addicted mother. Yeah.
Yeah.
How can you coach the mother to, first of all, acknowledge her addiction to her child, who's
Yeah.
now 50 years old? Yeah. He's
Yeah.
not a boy anymore, he's a grown up. Yeah. And
Yeah.
how can you get her to take responsibility for her recovery? Yeah.
Yeah.
What that
Yeah.
looks like. Yeah. And
Yeah.
then bring in the father, then the siblings, and the community, and it becomes complex. So if that doesn't happen,
Yeah.
the systemic pressure on the individual to go back and fulfill the role of the problem is
Yeah.
huge. Yeah.
Yeah.
And everyone in the system is saying, we want, if only that person gets well, then we would be better. The trouble is the person gets well, and then everybody has to kind of smell their own shit. And
Yeah.
and
Then they
and
say we preferred you when you were using,
but no, but everyone
because they
feels all
don't.
ashamed to admit that. But the
Yeah.
truth is, psychologically, you're able to orientate yourself around the familiar crisis.
Yeah.
So there's a sense of safety in the drama being the same. It's like, oh, fuck, I hate this, but I know what we're going to get.
Yeah. At least we know the role we played. Yeah. The familiar. Well, David, I was just discussing before we did this short little interview with you, if you would come back and teach a masterclass for our practitioners, just a 1 hour
Would love to.
introduction.
Would love
And
to.
thank you so much. That would be amazing. Thank you so much for your time this morning. Your time is valuable, and I really appreciate the time that you've taken.
No, it's my pleasure, Warren.
I really
It's,
appreciate it. Thank you so much. And I wish you all the best adjusting to the new world that you're living in today. I know you're very capable of it, and I really look forward to seeing what's going to come out of it.
cool.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much. Have a wonderful day.
Cool.
Okay, bye bye now.